There's a game and it's called Black Card Revoked. And I've played it one time before. It is okay and kind of annoying because it feels like something that could happen in everyday life. I feel like I've had so many moments where my black card has been revoked, and I've even had moments where I'm not treated like I'm a black person for different reasons. And it's almost offensive to not be treated like I'm black for the reasons that people give me. So I'm Latia, and a lot of times I've had people ask me if I was mixed because of the way that I speak. It's like, if I speak intelligently, proper English, I have to have a white parent teach me, instead of acting like I went to school with public education where they teach you reading, writing, grammar, English, all sorts of things. So that's been one of my experiences where people ask me if I'm mixed, and it's weird. It's usually after we start talking. Some people have told me that my skin color looks like I'm a mixed person, which, I mean, I hang out with mixed people who are light skinned and they're like, no, never. So it's like, I don't look like a typical mixed person. I'm not a mixed person. Technically, both of my parents are black. They identify as black. They are black people. In my bloodline, yeah, you go back far enough, there are people of other descents, because America isn't its own thing and never really has been outside of Native Americans. So as an American citizen, we have always come from places other than America, and those who did come from America originally have not been treated the way that they should be treated for allowing their land to be used, which allowing isn't even the right word. So I'm just gonna like stop on that train of thought because I am just messing it all the way up. But when it comes to being black, it's like anything can get your black card revoked, and it feels like it takes a lot to be called a black person. Even though in America, one drop of black blood makes you black, historically speaking, and we're in a day and age where a mixed president is called our first black president, and doesn't seem like he's fully accepted as a black person or an American citizen. It feels like everyone's always questioning people's identities, where they come from, what their genitals look like, what their sexual identity is. We're always so worried about all this stuff that doesn't matter. And it's just like, at the end of the day, most people who aren't given white privilege are seen as black people. And if you're not given white privilege, which is now called American citizenship and privilege, the privilege to walk down the street, to be a person, to be free, to be liberated, to, I don't know, say stupid things and have people kind of laugh it off instead of telling you about yourself. Yeah, that's what it seems like white culture is about, or true American culture. As a black person, I don't really get those benefits. And I guess as it being Juneteenth, I've heard of it for the last couple, like, it's not something that's always been part of my vocabulary or experience. So that's one thing. I will admit, I have not always been someone who's like celebrated Juneteenth, known about it, called it a thing. I probably learned about it, but it was more like in school, our teachers were just very adamant that we learned our history and knew about that black people were killed, lynchings, all the dark part of American history. We did also learn about the Harlem Renaissance and how black people have been able to create and be amazing in spite of the challenges that we face. But it's just frustrating that like we live in a day and age where we keep revoking people's black cards and telling them they're not black enough, and you have to be blackity black to be black. And it's just like, or I can just be black. Like, I don't have to be extra black, I don't have to speak Ebonics, I don't have to have grammar, I don't have to be rowdy or ridiculous to be a black person. Like, I can be an intelligent black person who likes anime and science fiction and physics and math and science and art and literature, and I'm still a black person. Like, even the black people that people will try to be like, you're no longer part of our black culture, it's like, they're still black. Even if they're accepted by white people and do what white people want them to do and we think that they're puppets, they're still black people, and they're still treated like black people. They're just privileged black people, in quotes, because you get to reap the benefits that the white people reap. Like, you get the mainstream dominant culture benefits, and a lot of times, like, people are going to put you on that pedestal if you're doing what they want you to do. And if you're not doing what they want you to do, that's when you're part of the underground. And that's when people think you're real and you're authentic, because nobody knows about you and you can do your truth and speak it well. Like, I remember hearing The Weeknd years ago on YouTube, and his music was amazing. Like, The Knowing, The Morning, oh my gosh, I love that song. Like, I could quote it and sing it now, and I might refrain, but that song, it's just so beautiful. I like can't even sing it because I know I'm not going to do it justice. Like, when I sing songs, I don't do them justice. And it's just so like, from the morning to the evening, pains from the tendons, got the walls kicking like they 6 months pregnant, drinking Alizé with our cereal for breakfast, girls calling cabs at dawn 6:45. The Weeknd, dang, he's just good. And even with I Can't Feel My Face, I'm like, he's still good, but now everyone knows who he is and his business and his hairstyles and all the things. And it's like, once someone like hits the mainstream, like, it just changes. And even if it doesn't, because I feel like Drake has kind of been consistent throughout everything that he's done. And I loved Best I Ever Had, and I love Legend. I love Legend because it kind of sounds like country. It just has that, when I pull up on a, it's like, it makes me feel like a country song. And I don't always listen to country, but sometimes I do. And sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I'm drinking because you stole my woman and my ride, and you think you can take my livelihood away. And it's just like, let's be emotional and in the feelings. But it's like, being a black person, that's not allowed. Being a black person, I've been told that I'm not black because I don't match 100% all parts of my outfits. I think things go together and that's good enough. And people are like, no, black people match. You have like, if you have a top, your bottom is like the same pattern. And I'm like, ew, that's disgusting. Like, we're not 5 years old. I am an adult. I would rather have a pattern bottom with a blank top, or vice versa. I don't need the same Gucci matching pattern all over me. I don't even want a Gucci pattern because it's like, who's Gucci? Not me. So don't tell me to rep your line unless it looks cute. And usually it doesn't, because it's just a pattern to show off how much money you have. And it's like, nah, I'd rather have no name, no brand, and look super fresh because I know how to put patterns and styles and shapes together over patterns. We're not in kangaroos or the whatever the things are with the little animals, screw animals. We're not in that day and age anymore. It's a new day and age. And I'm just grateful that people are honoring that, like, black is so much more than the stereotypes. Like, we're such a diverse group of people. And that's just been my life challenge. It's just like being accepted as a black person, being accepted as an intelligent black person, and just being accepted as like black, and it being okay for myself, for other people, because it's like, it's not fair to limit it to these stereotypes. And it's just like, yeah, sometimes I'll play around with my family and we will like mess around like, bish what, like, oh my gosh. But we also know that we're just playing around with it because we don't use that in everyday life outside of with each other. So I'm not going to be at work doing that unless it's with coworkers that I'm very comfortable with. So I do things like that at work. But with like my core team, no, I'm not going to be like that unless we're actually super cool. But like the other people that we don't do day-to-day things with, oh heck yeah, I would just go up there and I'm myself and I just rant and rave and it's amazing and I had fun with that. Now I don't have a job, so we'll figure out what's next and see how that goes. Today has been an emotionally not happy day, and oddly enough, talking on this has like made me feel better. So like, I'm grateful for that. I'm excited because I don't know, it just gets my energy up talking about things that are important to me. Like how at this point, oh man, I don't know how people are going to respond to this, but I think racism is a white people problem at this point. It is a black people problem because we die, but it's like, we've been telling you ever since we got here that you hate us and you don't know how to deal with us and you fear us and you treat us like we're animals. And you know, like, if we're created in God's image, then call us by our name, like, you know, all these things. And white people are the ones who are like shooting black people with the authority of police officers, and that's the big problem, which it is. And there are scared white police officers who are bound to serve all people, and they keep serving only white people, and they keep killing unjustly black people, and they are not getting justice. there's no justice, there's no liberty, there's no freedom. And it's weird how like different people want to be upset about it. So I know I've had a rant where I was talking about how, I don't remember what I was talking about, but I was mad because there was someone that I know who is of Asian American descent, I believe, and she was upset that like Asian people aren't treated fairly in America. And I'm just like, okay, Asian culture is weird in comparison to American culture, where American culture is, let's pretend we're the United Nations and all people get along and we are just in peace and harmony and we love each other and it's so much fun. Yes, America. And the reality is, it's like, you better be like everyone else and conform to like the most proper common denominator. So you either rise up or like sink down, but like you can be in this zone, but if you're anything else, you're weird. So it's like, if this is the bell curve, you got to be like, this is America. We pretend we accept all people, but it's like, no, we have like whatever our spectrum is, like at any point in time. And sometimes we're like, oh, we're liberal, we want everyone. And then other times we're like, just kidding. We don't want all that stuff. That's too much. We need like black and white. Just keep it simple. And then we'll be like, no, there's rainbows. And we're like, no. It's black and white. There's no gray. There's no room for anything other than perfection. And, you know, even in the black community, I've seen hair wars over natural hair and relaxed hair, weaves versus not weaves. I've seen locks versus other hair. It's like everything just becomes a battle, and it's just like, who cares? Light skin versus dark skin. That's the worst one, because it's like, the only way I can make my skin darker is if I go in the sun. The only way I can make it lighter is if I stay out of the sun. And if I get too pale, I'm just gonna look sick. And if I get super dark, maybe you'll know I'm black. That'd be the winner. Which I've tanned very much before, and you still need sunscreen as a black person, because I've sunburned before. And I had someone tell me that I looked red because I was sunburned, and I was like, I don't feel a burn, so I don't know why you're interpreting my red arms as me being burned, but okay. But I have had a sunburn on my chest, and I was taking a shower, and I was using hot water because I like it, and it burned, and I was like, what is going on? And then someone told me that was a sunburn, and I'm like, I don't know how pale skinned people do it. Like people with like redheads or people who like burn easily, I feel sorry for you. I wish you didn't have to go through that, because I couldn't, like, I had like, it was just like splotch on my chest, legit, just a little crescent. I couldn't deal with that. So if I had to deal with like my back being burned, I don't even know how you live. Like, how does that work? Especially like, I've heard of people who burn intentionally so they can get darker and more tan, and I'm just like, why are you suffering through that? If I had to go through that to get some color, I would stay pale. I would stay out of the sun. I would be like a vampire for real. Kind of. I would like natural lighting in my house. It feels better with like a vibrant open space. But I also watch a lot of HGTV, so I'm biased. But happy Juneteenth. On paper, black people became free, and that's exciting. In practice, we're still learning how to fight systemic racism, as they say on CNN, which I just watched thanks to my mom and her husband. Systemic racism being a phrase that white people use on a television show to go over the news is hilarious to me, because it's like, if it's a system of oppression and racism, why aren't you fixing the systems of oppression and racism? But instead of doing that, we just talk about it, because that's all we can do nowadays. We just talk about things. Like me, I'm just talking about this. I can't fix the world's problems. Or can I? I don't know. I haven't really tried to, because I'm so appalled by the state of things. I just don't even know where I would start. I guess the best place for me to start is like in my own home, and I live with a bunch of black people, so I guess I'm good. And my community is a diverse community, so we're good there too. So in my neck of the woods, which is the Midwest, surprisingly near Alton, where they had killings and lynchings and craziness, and near Ferguson, and near all sorts of things. It's not perfect, but people are good. And by good, I mean like people are doing well. Things aren't perfect. And I hope that we can get to a better place, because it would be awesome if we didn't need to celebrate Juneteenth anymore, because we realize we're free every day. We're allowed to live in our houses and go on runs and do all the things that people have lists of things on Facebook that they share about, like, You don't understand the Black experience until you understand that you're afraid for your son to go driving in a car, walking down the street, sitting in their house, eating their food, trying to cook in the park, and all the other things, walking in the store. But I don't know. I feel like it's challenging nowadays because it's like there are places in our country where people don't get exposed to other people. So even though for like people like myself, I've traveled around the world, I've left my state, I've left my country, I've been on other continents from Europe and Asia. I went to Singapore, been to United Kingdom, been to Budapest in Hungary. So I've got like South America, even for Costa Rica, Dominican Republic. I've been to Mexico. So there's a variety of places that I've visited where I get to learn about other cultures and other people. But if you're living in a rural area and you're very isolated, it makes sense that you might not understand that Black people are diverse, that you might not yet be exposed to images or experiences face to face with Black people where you can see like we're all the same. We're just different in how we execute. So, you know, I mean, there's a Black man singing country, or Black men are singing country, and we can like look at these images and keep fighting the injustices and the differences that exist. But maybe we'll never get there. I don't know. I don't see the future. I hope we do get there, and I hope we get there soon, but it's also going to take work. And I don't know. I feel like technology could help it and hurt it. I guess it just depends on, are we still trying to be bipartisan and fighting a war within our own country and pretending like we're not? Because Democrats and Republicans can't get along and we can't figure out how to figure out what is really important. And then, or would we rather like find that middle ground where we're all like, right, people are people, individuals can honor their bodies, corporations can honor their agreements, and we can all flow and have like equality and peace without it being communist, without it being socialist, without it being a tyranny. Like, I don't know, there's lots of options that we have, and I feel like we get caught up in such small details that that's what stops progress. But I mean, that was why they were against the bipartisan system a long time ago, because they knew if you have two parties, that means you're divided, and if you're divided, you're not likely to come up with really good choices. But you know, we've been a country for hundreds of years now at this point. We're still a young country in comparison to all the others, and hopefully we can figure something out where people are taken care of and good. But I don't know. I'm just grateful that at the least I can speak freely thanks to my First Amendment rights. I can, if I wanted to own a gun, I could. I don't really want to own a gun. I don't mind going to a shooting range on occasion. Although I am afraid that like the shell will pop out and like hit me on the side of the eye, because I heard that can happen, and I'm just like, I don't want that. I really don't want those problems in my life. I really also don't want, you know, racism to be a problem in my life, but it's like I can't control the way other people see me. Even if I'm a good Black person, it's still like I'm not allowed to speak on behalf of all Black people. I've had a guy want to date me, and he legit was like, Latia, you're not allowed to speak up for Black people because you're an exception to the rule. So anything you say is going to be biased in favor of good Black people. And it's just like, that's nonsense. Like, I'm just a Black person. I'm not special. I just, how do you even respond to that? But I guess the good news is that we're having conversations. We're able to start dialogues. CNN does weird ones sometimes, I will admit, but they're trying. And hopefully we'll get to a point where our justice system and the police are actually honoring all people as equals instead of this black and white divisiveness. Because at the end of the day, we're all humans. We all bleed. We all have feelings and emotions. We may not be allowed to express them and honor them, but hopefully that starts changing to where we can be whole human beings, honor our masculine and our feminine, and just go for life as hard as possible. Like, I'm ready to just have some fun. Like, I'm building my own dreams and figuring out what that looks like, and a lot of it does involve talking. I'll probably, not gonna make promises. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I just take it a day at a time, because that's where I'm at right now in my journey. I'm still processing my experience, and when I'm ready, I will come clean and let everyone know what happened to me, what am I dealing with, and what I'm doing to move forward. But as I process, I'm gonna process that privately, because that is my right. And when I'm ready, I will share powerfully and amazingly. Probably not. It's probably gonna be something goofy and weird. I like to pretend I'm an adult and you can trust me, but I'm more like a child. You can trust me to an extent. No, I'm super trustworthy to an extent. I don't know. I'm human. I have my flaws. I don't have like anything where I'm like ethically bound besides by being a human and doing my best to honor the people that I love and care about, which I have a baseline love for all humanity, because we're all going through this journey together. And so I get that everyone's experience is challenging. It's challenging for white people to confront racism, because it's really awkward to be like, hey there, person of color or black person, how's your experience as a black person? And then it just gets weird, because it's like, why are you asking me this question? Like, if my entire experience is that of blackness, how can I tell you how it differs from yours without us having a dialogue and it being like, well, what's your privilege like? What is the privilege of being able to not care about other people's feelings and be a jerk and have people still respect you? That is what I'm really wanting to know, because like, it's mostly been white people or people who are dominant culture that I've seen. They just like get to be so rude to people, and it's not cute, and it's not nice, and it's mean and nasty, and people still treat them with respect. And I'm just like, how are you able to be successful and do anything and think highly of yourself when you're trash? And I say trash as in like, you are trash. I don't agree with it. I don't like witnessing it. I don't like being around it. But I also don't say anything, because I'm like, it's not my place to tell you that I think you're trash, because my opinion that you're trash is just my opinion that you're trash. That just means that like, you are impolite, disrespectful, inconsiderate. You sound like you're stupid, so you sound ignorant and dumb. You might sound kind of trashy, like, what is like a good analogy for it? Just like you have no home training, like you weren't trained well, you weren't taught well, you don't understand that all people deserve respect, that it's not cute to make fun of people for any reason really, unless like you know them. If you're familiar with them and you make fun of them, I can get that. But if you just meet someone and you're making fun of them, why? I just don't understand that. I've never understood it. I don't understand dirty dozens, yo mama jokes, none of it. Like, I am that good at handling those situations. I am slow when it comes to like verbal sparring. I am not made for thinking on my toes and being like, oh, well, your face, and like that would be me. I'd just be like, no comeback. And then hours later, I'm like, dang, I could have came with that heat. I could have hit him where it hurts. Oh, I could have done that, son. The reality is, no, I could not have. If I could have, I would have, and I would not, because I am not about that life. I am soft, and I know I'm soft. I'm like a lover. I like to imagine that I'm tough. Like, in my mind, I'm like, big black bear, don't mess with me. I'll hurt you. Grizzly bear, got the claws. I'm gonna come with it. In reality, people see me as a teddy bear. I'm just soft and cuddly and cute. Maybe even a baby doll. And the not creepy ones, which I don't know if they exist. But if there were non-creepy baby dolls, that would probably be more like what I am. Or maybe I'm a slightly creepy baby doll, but you still love me anyways. Because even though it looks like I'm always staring at you, you also know that you can love me and cuddle up on me. Hey. But yeah, I am grateful to be a free black woman in this day and age. I am also excited for the day when all people are free in America and we stop fighting over silly things. I'm excited for the growth and continued development of racial equality, gender equality, sex equality, all the qualities that we can have where people are just free. All the isms of oppression are gone. And we can just have fun and be in peace, because at the end of the day, it's the diverse perspectives of all of the nations in the world that make America what it could be, which it could be fun. Not great. We're not that great. Like, we're not that big either. Like, I don't know why we always have this rhetoric of America being the best. America is not number one. America is like old, like young. America is like the baby of the group. And I feel like the baby, we're like, I'm so big and strong and I can do anything and I'm the rebel child and I will be out there and I will be great. I am scrappy and I'm hungry and I will fight for my right to be me. And it's just like, you know, we've had a lot of countries try to do what you're trying to do, and it's great. But, you know, you're still trying to figure out your thing. So just do you, and then try to save the world. Like, we haven't even figured out how to get rid of racism. And other countries do racism differently. Shade seems to be a universal challenge around the world, where fair-skinned people are treated better than darker-skinned, or vice versa, depending on where you're at. But it's like, there's usually cultural things around it, and like, American culture is one of slave labor. So we're still profiting off of the concept of slave labor, but now we call essential workers who aren't allowed to work from home cheap labor, and we treat them unfairly and with disrespect, because white collar people think that like blue collar people aren't amazing and wonderful and working hard and trying to provide for their families and living great lives. Like, we act like every person working in fast food is a teenager and doesn't have responsibilities, and that's not true, because there are experienced people. Like, I've worked at Steak and Shake before, I've worked at a country club before, I've worked at Macy's, I've worked at tech companies, and the only difference is that at tech companies, people act like they're entitled to be jerks. Whereas, like, when you work in, like, service industry, I feel like people treat each other with more respect and more care than in any other one. Granted, there's a difference between me working in software development / data engineering and me working in service. Me working in service, my higher corporation is your problem. My management is your problem. I am not your problem. I am doing my best to be of service to you and do what the other people told me to say. So if someone tells me to tell you something to say that ain't right, that was, whoops, I had nothing better to say than what they told me. I didn't think anything of it. So there's that. But then when it's like my work and my baby and my project, and I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this, and I've been thinking about it, and it's my brainchild, and you disrespect it, oh, that is like my baby. Like, I love that. You don't know how much effort went into it. You just disrespect it like that? No, I don't like that. So that's the difference. I like service, it's fun, but when people have a problem, it's easy to be like, wow, I hear your anger. Well, your options with me are, you can accept this problem and the offer that I'm making, I cannot make any changes because I'm not authorized, or I can call a manager. What works better for you? So either I'll see a manager, be like, manager, come here, or I'll get the phone, be like, hello, is this manager available to come to this department? Thank you. Click, and then I wait and I let them do their thing. Whereas in like tech roles, escalation is not clear to me. I don't understand it. I am just like, I just want to get this thing over with. Why does the workday feel so long? And I've done Black Friday and stayed for long hours in service, and that is easier and more fun than dealing with tech companies sometimes. It's not the tech company's fault. I just have no focus sometimes. But I digress. Alas, it is time for me to end this video. If you really watched this far to the end, thank you. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. It was not my intention to be this long. But sometimes I just go with the flow, and today I felt like making a 30-minute video, basically. So I hope you have a wonderful day. If you like it, like it. If you don't like it, dislike it. If you dislike it, please comment and tell me why. That'd be awesome. Yeah, comment below. Share this if you find it interesting. No matter what happens, I'm still Black, so I'm grateful to know that. And I hope you have a happy Juneteenth, and that we start being free and not needing to fake our freedom as Black people or people in America. Because even this thing against the Dreamers and DACA, I'm just like, y'all are just, what is going on in our government? Holy moly, it's crazy. And I wish I weren't in a place where I was watching CNN, but it's okay. I'm gonna survive, and we all shall. And I pray for you in love and happiness and peace. Thanks for watching. See you next time, or not.